I believe often we've built Christianity at a very surface level, and we have treated people as a very shallow level. And we have not taught people that the best way to grow as a person is to continue to grow internally, to dig deep down inside and find out what it is that God has graced and gifted you with in every single way. And we need to create an environment in the church, a culture, a climate, a context, an environment where you are permitted, if you are a rabbit, you are permitted all day, every day, just to run. But instead, we want to make you an all-rounded person. So we want you to learn to swim and fly as well. Even though God made you to be a rabbit, we expect you to swim. Because swimming should be another skill that you have. Because, you got to do a bit of that fish stuff, even though you're a rabbit. When you be an all-rounded person, you got to get a diploma, whether you want one or not, in swimming. And I think our whole education system, therefore, is rigged against us flourishing. And I've done a lot of thinking and studying on this in recent years, and I've become convinced that we need a revolution. And there is a revolution going on. It's small, it is more developed in some parts of the world than others. And by the way, this is not an anti-education message tonight. Just in case the parents are panicking already. Education's great. I believe in education. My issue is not education. My issue is that the education system is very often too narrow in its perception of how to help people flourish. Our education system is obsessed with fixing weakness rather than helping you get better at what God made you good at. One of the things in the book, which you'll like this, talks about the American table tennis team were determined in the Beijing Olympics to beat the Chinese table tennis team. They hadn't beaten them ever. And it was their greatest desire and ambition to beat the Chinese table tennis team. Well, the Beijing Olympics came and went, as some of you may remember, and the Chinese beat them easily. And the Americans were so demoralized that the American coaches spoke to the Chinese coaches and said, "What is it that we're missing? What are your techniques that are different to ours? Because we don't seem to be able to beat you for all our studying of you, for all our watching of you on video before we come." And the Chinese coaches said, "It's simple. If our player has an awesome forehand, but a weak backhand, we spend no time developing his backhand. We spend all our time making his forehand, which is awesome, even more devastating. What you do in the West is, if your player's got a great forehand, but a weak backhand, you spend time trying to make his backhand as good as his forehand." And our philosophy is this: we know that if you know our player has got a weak backhand, we know you'll try to play to his backhand, and we know he'll lose a few points on his backhand. But we don't care, because we know he's going to kill you with his forehand. In other words, their philosophy was, let's not spend time trying to make a rabbit swim. Let's spend time making that forehand that's obviously already a killing machine. Let's spend time to make it so devastating that even if you think you've got him nailed by going to the backhand, he's going to concede a few points and he's not going to panic because he knows you ain't seen nothing yet. I believe that the philosophy of that book revolutionized the way I thought about me and the way I thought about God's people. Because I believe in the church, we had rabbits swimming and flying all over the place. Then we wondered why people were struggling to grow. And they were loyal and committed, and loyal and committed people are willing to help you with things that they're not good at because they know you need a hand. But eventually, people get frustrated and get exhausted and get burnt out and frustrated and resentful when we keep asking rabbits to fly instead of building an understanding in us that we need to find out, and you need to find out, what is it that God made you brilliant at? And we need to give you permission to soar with your strength. Imagine if every one of you in this room right now at this stage of your life, were soaring with the strength God gave you, and you were bringing that strength to the table of your life, in the community, in your family, in your home, in the church, whatever you do life, the place where you work, that you were already, and that's why I say the young people need to hear this, because the sooner you find out, the sooner we help you to even realize you're in the neighborhood of the things God made you brilliant at, the sooner you begin to track that, the sooner you can spend time doing what God made you brilliant at and doing more of that.